Hello and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 3 and Black Ice version 10.52 and the UK campaign, which I finally managed to get working again. One thing I did want to say is that this is going to be a slightly different episode, but I want to kick off with a massive thank you to you all because I just hit 1,000 subscribers, which is unbelievable. I've applied for the partner program today, and you know, that's amazing. So a massive thank you to all of you for all of your help, your support, and your ongoing support, and also not just to the people that subscribe, but to the people that don't subscribe. Please subscribe if you haven't already, but if it's not for you, that's fair enough. But yeah, like for the channel of my size, you know, 1,000 subscribers now. The fact that the amount of you comment, view my videos, like my videos are really high on the engagement side of things. You know, I've matched one of the two quotas, the watch hours one, for ages. So the fact that you guys support the channel to the extent that you do, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between, you know, it means a lot to me. So thanks very much. And, well, we're rocking and rolling. This episode, I'd say, is going to be slightly different because of some compatibility issues and some problems with my recording software. I'm actually quite in advance of where we were last time, even more than that date would indicate. But I do have a series of saves, pretty much on a monthly basis, up until June of 43, that just sort of show our progress over the time period. And I think I'm just going to go back in time and do a little sit rep at each one of those dates in this video. So it'll be about 15-20 minutes. And it's just to get everyone up to speed and save me sort of replaying everything, because obviously it's the better part of probably about 2 hours work within those videos, and good old Nvidia having some major problems. But let's have a little look then. So we finished in North Africa, and we did a little naval invasion, and well, we've unhinged the flank up here with this naval invasion and our little defensive positions. But more so than that even, as you can see, we've got a breakout with pretty much all of these forces over here. And this is pretty much more than the AI can handle, and we're pushing up towards this location in order to complete an encirclement, which is how this all went. We also at the same time diverted some troops to surround Madrid, and as you can see, there are sufficient forces in this area to achieve that as well. And we've started to push out in this area towards Portugal, which is actually, weirdly enough, where they have the most troops. And the next time we have a look at this, we will definitely see that occurring. Now, in the Far East, we did manage to win some major naval battles, but our fleet is mainly in port, chilling out and recuperating a little bit before another push. But the Japanese have managed to land and take some land in here, which is not very good at all. And they actually hold port, which is doubly not very good at all. We're still holding over here, but we are slowly losing this battle. And there isn't much we can do, really. Just, you know, we just don't have the men to continue throwing into the meat grinder. Manpower-wise, we're pretty much sort of on a level, but we're not great. But yes, now the Soviets. Their offensive is continuing, and it's occurring very well. Again, Turkey is still pushing in the Middle East and trying to move towards Iraq and things. So there's a few little bits going on over here, but the key things are this naval landing here, and also the one that the Americans have launched. So that American landing is quite a major one. And the Italians have got pretty much all of their forces in Spain and in the Soviet Union, so there isn't much they can do about that. But there's going to be a little minor cut here, and I will be back momentarily to talk you through the next point in our save system. So thanks again. I didn't know whether or not to add like a Back to the Future sound effect there, just to represent my my time traveling. But anyway, we are now on the 31st of January, and as you can see, the breakout attempt was successful. We've got units pushing now towards Vichy France and France proper, and we've also got a major push of units here because the aim is to try and close off this escape route and therefore trap all of these units in Iberia, including a couple of very interesting German divisions. We've got a SS Viking Panzer division here, an infantry division, couple there, cavalry unit, but a lot of Italians, and also we want to puppet the Spanish state, so we are heading towards that as a function. We've got a fair amount of tank and armoured forces with which to achieve this aim as well. And the Americans are making slow but steady progress in Italy, and they have taken the major port at Reggio di Calabria, which is very important because at that point it gives us the ability to, to push out out of Sicily. Now, the campaign in North Africa not North Africa, in the Middle East is going not great. We've been really pushed back, as you can see, and we're doing our best to hold Turkey and Iran. The Soviets are still in very similar positions. They've made some minor progress in the Rostov area, but they need to sort of take these areas here and try and take the Kerch Peninsula in order to make sure that they achieve the encirclement here. The only problem is that, of course, the Germans can fall back into Turkey and then direct themselves towards me. So, a general fallback to sort of a line along here might be on the cards. But yeah, overall, things are moving fairly well. Now, in the Middle East, again, no major actions at the moment. Fleet is still in port. We've managed to surround this unit with the 6th Indian unit, and we're doing our best to try and hold a position over here, and it's going to take a while for those units to move up. The only other thing worth noting is that there is a pretty large concentration of forces over here, on this island area, which are starting to push into my positions over here, which is not so good. But I think I will leave that there. I think that's pretty much everything, other than the still ongoing battle here, which is not looking so hot. But I will be back in a moment. Hello and welcome back. I am really, seriously, I should be putting like a terrible sound effect on something each time, like a whoosh. Whoosh. Or no, the TARDIS sound effect. There we go, I might even do that in editing. But yeah, we are carrying forwards, and as you can see, we have completed our planned encirclement of the Spanish state. There are several units that we were able to catch over here, and a couple that we're still dealing with. We've actually managed to get the SS Panzer Viking Division to join the Spanish state and fight as one of their units, which is very interesting. The Spanish state is now an allied nation, and we are going to begin our gentle push into Germany proper. Well, France proper, and then hopefully into Germany. We've got several tank divisions to achieve this, and we've got some units over here that we're going to start moving back in this direction. But you can see where we sort of pushed up, and then we subdivided our forces. One set to go this way, and as you can see, another set to go this way over towards La Coruna. But all of these units can now turn their attention to France and begin the push into France proper. The last couple of campaigns, Spain has been the MVP moment, really, which is very interesting. So there's a couple of Spanish divisions over here which have mucked up the German front a little bit. In Turkey and in the Middle East, things still not going so well, and they are moving into Saudi Arabia now, which is not so good. And still, this battle goes on, but it's grinding down to the point where I just think we're really lacking in organisation and things that we can really do to keep things going. But yeah, relatively happy with everything so far. The only other thing that's worth noting is that whilst our fleet has been in port for a while, I'm pretty sure that the Japanese are down to about maybe 6 or 7 carriers, which is very, very small amounts of carriers. And on our secret tech, as you can see, we've got a pretty sizable amount of work done on our nuclear tech. So we might be closing in on nuclear weapons of some description relatively soon, because we've got our nuclear reactor, and we've got a fair amount of our tech out of the way. But I will be back momentarily to show you the next stage in this grand epic. Hello, and well, as you can see, it is March 19th, and using some forces from Britain, as shown here, so not many, what's that in the region of? About 80,000 men, we have been able to launch a very minor invasion, which I believe we started at Saint Malau, or it might have even been Saint Nazaire. I think it was Nate, Saint Nazaire, and Saint Malo, because we have launched an invasion not only with our units in the south here that are making, you know, relatively okay progress, but via this invasion and some rather speedy Polish divisions and Czechoslovak Legion units, we've been able to just really push into the interior and retake Paris. So a minor naval landing here, which was pretty much unopposed. The Germans didn't have any units over here. I think they reallocated them to deal with the Spanish over here. And also down in Italy, where they've connected their fronts, and they are now pushing up towards some of the decent defensive lines. Is that the Gothic line? I can't remember the name of that particular line, but they're pushing up towards it. And our own units are going to be able to start threatening Italy's northern flank relatively soon, which gives an idea really of how well this is going and how quickly things are developing. In 2 weeks, as I say, we've conquered a pretty sizable amount of Germany proper, enough to hold a defensive line sort of in the old World War I line on the in this part of the world, which is quite interesting. We can have our own Battle of Arras. But yeah, things are looking relatively well, and we're going to continue with our push onwards. But those are the basics for northern France. Now, we've managed to stabilise the front line in Saudi Arabia with some additional units that have spawned in, including the Australian tank units, some additional infantry, so the Battle Axe and the South African Armoured Division are making their way up. And then we've moved all of our infantry back into a line like so, apart from any areas that are being covered by the Americans. But Iraq was conquered and capitulated, which is a bit of a shame. And in India, we are still fighting this battle in this area of the world, which is just sort of never-ending. There were a couple of naval actions where we did defeat some of the, some more very basic Japanese naval units, but nothing too crazy. And manpower-wise, we're really starting to suffer. But we're up to 90 on the gain now, which is quite good. Now the Soviets are still struggling to make their final push in this area, but I mean, we're doing all we can to support them. But I'm going to put another cut in, and I will be back with you in a moment. So, in the 2 weeks following that last cut, we have now established our front line quite easily. As you can tell, our units are moving into position on the front, and we've also started to move into Italy proper, based out of Torino. The Americans have pushed up towards the Gothic line, and towards Rome, where they've got an attack target, and our own divisions are making slow and steady progress, as I say, towards Italy. The main thing that we're going to try and achieve is a breakthrough in the centre to encircle both of these sets of units. For the Germans, if we can get a very minor encirclement, or even a couple of encirclements, including this Panzer division, that would be very good. And also, we want to push with these units and cut off this route here so that Germany can't supply any units in this direction towards Italy. They have to go round the long way in order to achieve that aim. But those are the basics in the sort of, what's the word I'm looking for, in northern France and in central France and sort of on the Italian, Alpine region. Now, in the Middle East, we're still holding our new defensive line, and it's holding for now. It's all about delay over here. Delay until this area can do its job. The Soviets have finally pushed out a little bit and are moving towards Rostov-on-Don. They're getting there. It's just taking its time. And we're still holding down here, but the issue is we have lost pretty much all of our refinery areas over here, and we're forming a new defensive line over here in these two provinces just to try and hold the rest of this peninsula, and then maybe we can do some naval landings just to finish them off with any additional units that we've got. But no major changes here beyond these units are still pushing up and trying to take this chain of islands in the south over here. But yeah, nothing too much to call out. The Americans, from an island hopping perspective, aren't really doing anything. They're fully committed in Europe. That's the key thing. But yes, I will be back in a moment where hopefully I can show you where we're going to be up to next. So, the situation has developed rapidly. So it's been about 1 month since that last save. And as you can see, we took Torino. And we started to move into northern Italy. And there aren't that many units with which to oppose us compared to the amount of divisions that we've got going on over here. And we're aiming to try and close this gap north of Firenze. And try and seal off Rome and give the Americans every opportunity to continue pushing up. It's a bit of a weird one, really, because we're doing most of the heavy lifting, and the Americans are really being quite slow, to be honest with you. But what we've had the problem, we haven't been able to complete an encirclement beyond our push in this direction. So we were able to push north of Lyon and trap a lot of units in this area and take them out. But as you can see, we weren't really able to push any more from our Paris position. We were able to deal with sort of the centre and get a little bit of an improvement, but we've got quite a lot of units just sort of caught over here trying to clean all this up. So we're going to take this river position, then we're going to start planning the next phase of our movement, where we're going to try and outflank like so, and then move up towards Amsterdam, hopefully, and really unhinge all of this area. But things going very well in Italy, and, they're not the most difficult nut to crack when you get them into this kind of position, which is very good. Now, in Saudi Arabia, a few counterattacks, not really running against our line, so we're doing okay at the moment. The delay tactic over there is working. The battle over here is still ongoing, and it feels like it's never going to end, but our organisation is chronically bad across many units, so we're really struggling there. We are holding our little line here, as I noted the other day, and we're also holding this line here. In fact, Colonial Force managed to actually beat them back there, which is very good. So, yeah, I think overall, things going pretty well. Nothing too much to call out, at least on the naval front. No major losses, but the key thing is that this push in this area of the world has sort of ground to a bit of a halt. The Germans have reinforced this area substantially, and we've got to think of the best way that we can try and unhinge it. Now, I am also getting together some of our units that are breaking, and we're always reinforcing out of Dover back into our lines. But, yeah, I will see you in a moment, and we will be in May next time round. So, as you can see, northern Italy has fallen to us. We've done a very good job of pushing on up. They're very close to capitulating, and we have surrounded Rome, including Mussolini. He is over there. We've got a pretty sizable amount of units to help push, and the Spanish state has also joined in with their divisions. So we completed an encirclement around. The Americans are concentrating their force directly outside of Rome itself. But yeah, the damage is slowly being done, and it is whittling them down. So not long until Italy capitulates. Now, in the centre and in the north, in the far northern area, so we were at Le Havre, we've been able to push back out towards here and towards Boulogne. But we are being confronted by some German SS Panzer divisions, so they are sending some decent stuff to try and counter us in a couple of areas. Now, as you can see, we are in Germany proper now. We have been able to take Freiburg, and we're not that far away from Stuttgart. We also have some divisions ready to hit the Alpine Redoubt and get that out of the way quite quickly. But the soft underbelly of Germany is definitely been this area. We've been able to do massive damage. Now these units here might look strong on paper, these Hungarians and things, but a lot of them are very weak. They're very lacking manpower, and the Soviets were finally able to take Rostov, and they are so close to taking Azov and Taganrog. Once they take them, this will be shut off, which is very impressive. As you can see, they've already got a bit of a breakdown here, so this area is already cut off. These units are going to be the next ones, I think, to fall, which is very good. Now, in this area, they are beginning another advance, especially in this area around Beirut, and then moving on towards Tel Aviv. But it's a tough one. Hopefully, you know, we can hold them there for long enough. Now, we did lose, finally, this battle against the Japanese, and I am falling back with our units towards a line that's based here in these two provinces, because the infrastructure over here is not that great, and hopefully I can use my line here in Burma to keep the Japanese at bay. Now, this will give them ports on this side, which I'm not particularly happy with, but I did think that if they do overextend and send units to these ports, it's going to be very easy for my own forces based out of Singapore to crush them, really, because they will not have the range for that kind of battle. But we're also going to need to hold a line at Capi, because it is a one-province area, and it is jungle, so it should be fairly defensible for the most part. But yeah, we're going to try and hold a line here, and hold a line here, and hopefully this will split their forces up a little bit. I'm still thinking that once we free up forces from Europe, what we'd want to do is a naval invasion sort of this peninsula, take all the ports, and then, you know, crush pretty much their entire army in this part of the world. But so either that or we try island hopping towards like Formosa and things, and then up towards Japan, but I'm not sure really. Kind of depends on what the best allocation of forces would be. So yeah, that's the situation as of the 29th of May. Breakthrough in sort of southern Germany. Breakthrough in the centre in massing units, as you can see, for a attack in this sort of area towards the north and towards the industrial heartland. And we've also launched a major strategic bombing campaign, which I don't think I can accurately represent, but it's bombing a fair amount of the German IC into oblivion. And in fact, the Soviets have retaken Moscow. Yeah, it's just worth noting that they've been able to retake Moscow. So across the line now, they're actually not that close to surrendering. I mean, their national unity is extremely low, so the fact we've been able to keep them in the war is impressive. I'm taking a big positive on that. But yeah, I think that's everything, and I will be back in a moment. The year is 1943, and Italy has fallen. Yes, Britain has conquered Italy, and our Pax, our own Pax Romana has been built in this part of the world. The only holdout being Turkey, and as you can see, they are pushing against our line, which is difficult, I must say. They've taken Tel Aviv, and there is a battle at Jerusalem about to begin. So we're struggling to hold this front. But in some good news, the Soviets still haven't taken these provinces, which is very frustrating, and they've still got a bridgehead to deal with in the Kerch, sort of, well, the Kerch mentioned it here, but they've got this little bridgehead over here. They've condensed these units down just, you know, to literally the areas really on the border with Turkey. So they're still in the battle. Now, the Italians, I did put a puppet war goal on them, but I also had a conquer war goal on them. So there's a fair amount of Italian units that are actually puppeted to me that are going to fight for me. And one thing to note is that I got a pretty sizable amount of the American units. I don't know if I can show them. So yeah, I've got a fair amount of American expeditionary forces, which is quite cool. And we've got a pretty sizable amount of units that I have to sort out and arrange. But as you can see, we've got all we need really to do a advance into Germany proper from not only the north, but also the south. Now, speaking of the north, as you can see, we've got several encirclements on the go. We've used our tank forces to move around any strong points, and also any Italian service units that have joined the Germans have pretty much got no manpower, and the same thing with Hungary. So a lot of these divisions are divisions on the map only, they are not combat effective. And we're surrounding the limited combat effective units the Germans have over here. So we've surrounded this tank division. We've surrounded a couple of units in here as well, although they're very weak. And we've also surrounded a motorized or Panzer Grenadier division as well down here. Now, we did have to give up some ground over here because they did send some panzer divisions to push us back out of Germany. But as you can see, we are pushing back over the river. So we should be in a relatively good position soon there. Their forces are really lacking. And they just don't have a lot with which to try and hold us back. And the German manpower situation is less than stellar. I'm not sure if there's an easy way I can show this, but the other thing to note as well is that Germany only has a national unity of 67.5%, which is, I think, the lowest I've ever seen from a Germany campaign. They are really struggling, and also the one thing to note about the west of Germany is that there's actually a lot of quite large victory point linked areas. So if I just sort of take a look at this, you've got Freiburg, Stuttgart, that's 7. You've got Nancy, Metz, because these are actually cores of Germany, these ones, which is interesting. But the key ones, you've got Bitburg, which is worth 13, Euskirchen, which is worth 12, Cologne, which is worth 5, Dusseldorf, which is worth 10, Essen, which is worth 5, and Dortmund, which is worth 10. So you've got a lot of really high Victory Province level captures over here, and if you take those, you don't necessarily need to take Berlin, depending on how many you get. So this just gives an idea of how off the pace Germany really is, and really our push should be quite good. Now, the issue we've got is manpower. We are lacking copious amounts of manpower, and that's mainly because of the fighting in North Africa, but also our formation of our new lines over here. We're having to reinforce, you know, a lot of these units up to fighting strength. And the same thing down here, where we're forming our new line. But this is a relatively slow battle. We can, as I've said before, we can delay over here in order to, you know, finish off Europe, because the timeline on this is a little bit better. But that brings you up to date. That is a step-by-step of how we've been progressing. Now, what I want to know is, because the game does generally get more difficult to play at a certain point, are you, as an audience, okay with a format like this? Not exactly like this, because this has been a bit ad hoc and things, and I'd like some feedback, really. But a format like this, which we can use to... I can bring you up to date on events if I have problems with my recordings, with crashing and things at a certain point. I just want to know if this is the sort of thing that you would like, as an alternative if I can't just record a standard episode. But hopefully, you know, you've enjoyed this. Once again, I want to submit my amazing thank you to you all for 1,000 subscribers. It is bonkers. When I first started the channel, 1,000 subscribers was a absolutely ridiculous channel aim. I think it says on my channel that I'd be a very happy human one day if I hit 1,000 subscribers. And I am indeed a very happy human on this day. So thank you very much. I appreciate all your help and your support. And hopefully I will see you in the next episode of the UK campaign soon, where we will pick up on June 18th. And hopefully I can continue my push, clean up these little pockets of encirclements. And then hopefully I'm thinking a push towards this industrial area would not be the worst thing in the world. So thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks again. Bye-bye.